This thing's on. Is it on?
My pro day was in Phoenix at Arizona State's campus. It was myself and Felipe Sparks. And Felipe Sparks was the guy who was going to go in the first round. And all the scouts were there, including the Cowboys. All the teams were there to work out Felipe Sparks. I remember running my 40 and running like in the 4.3s. And that's when I met Dave Campo. When I ran the 4.3, Campo walked up, and that's the first time I had ever met Dave Campo, and asked me if I would do some DB drills. Because I was a tweener. I was a linebacker. They weren't sure if I was going to be able to play safety, and he asked me to do defensive back drills. And I'm still upset with Campo because I did linebacker drills beforehand and then had to go back and do the defensive back drills. And I was wore out. I mean, he had me open up my hips, I did about 8 or 9 drills. I was tired, but he just wanted to see my feet. And he said at that time, we're going to draft, he didn't tell me this, but after the fact, he said, I was on the radar. So on draft day, my best friend who had gotten drafted the year before in the 4th round by the San Diego Chargers, his name's Floyd Fields, stayed at my house along with my mother. And they watched the draft while they gave me a pager. And I took a pager and I went to the golf course. And I remember pulling up at the golf course and the pager went off. And he had me call my home line. So I called the house. My buddy picks up the phone, and Floyd picks up the phone and says, hey, you just got drafted. And I said, by who? And I didn't ask what round it was. I had no idea. I said, who drafted me? And he said, you'll never guess. I said, dude, just tell me. Because he drug it on. He said, Cowboys drafted you. And when he said it, I was thinking, I hated the Cowboys growing up. I hated the Cowboys as a kid. They weren't the Steelers were my team growing up. But he said the Cowboys, and I thought about it, and I said, all right, sounds good. And he says, they called, Jimmy Johnson, called, and you got to fly out sometime today. And I hung up, got over to my apartment, got my stuff ready, man. But it was, it was surreal because first of all, I never thought the Cowboys would draft me. Secondly, just to be drafted and it being a lifelong dream, man, was just unbelievable.